Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Art has evolved from being a vehicle for religious rituals to being used for commemoration of important events, from serving as propaganda or social commentary to being a powerful means of storytelling. Be it interpreting intense emotions or recreating beauty, art has gone through various shifts over centuries. The 6th edition of Art Bengaluru, with the theme Paradigm Shift, focuses on the evolution of art and brings to you various interpretations of works of art from around the world. Art Bengaluru, one of the most distinguished art festivals in India, showcased a wide spectrum of art forms and provided a platform for both Indian and international artists to exhibit their works. Riding on the success of its last 5 editions, Yes Bank Art Bengaluru returned with its 6th edition, which aimed to change the way the 21st century perceives art and life.
There is talent. There's a lot of talent in our country, which is towards any form of art, which is music, theatre, dance and visual art. Bangalore being the IT hub, there's a lot of influence of IT. So there's digital art, video mapping, music installation. So, the world has really changed and the way art is looked upon. So the whole theme is paradigm shift. Well, the way we used to communicate before, having pigeons take a message from one place to the other. Now with a click of a button you can communicate with the entire world, right? There are no more barriers. It's called globalization, A. B, there's a paradigm shift in the way people think, people communicate. So a paradigm shift in art itself is not visual art, right? It's even music, theatre, dance, and that also has really transformed. And the way people think, it's not being a professional anymore, because not everybody can dance, not everybody has the confidence to go and perform in a theatre, and not everyone can sing or play an instrument. So it takes a lot of courage, and I believe that encouraging and motivating is very important, and take it to the next level. The whole idea is to give a platform to upcoming artists. So what you witness today is a plethora of 40 or more national and international artists, established ones with the upcoming, and I believe it is important because the ones who are established, somebody gave them a platform. Right? And if you have a talent and you can showcase with another established artist, that gives you that encouragement and motivation to say, hey, I'm good too. But the established artist should mentor them and say, listen, yeah, you are good, but you can get better. And I believe that we don't know everything, and every day is a learning curve, and through knowledge, through trial and our own mistakes, we can get better.
The theme this year was Paradigm Shift, which was not only a showcase but also an experience across several spheres. The festival focused on the different perspectives of technological advancements, interactivity, lifestyle, scientific discoveries and dimensions affecting an immigration or shift in our thinking, while substantiating the role of art in shifting paradigms.
This year the concept of Art Bengaluru has been paradigm shift, and we're taking paradigm shift in a broader sense. We're trying to look at how artists are looking at the idea of paradigm shift. So here we're trying to see how artists are exploring material, media, and sometimes even ideas itself. So artists are looking at video projections, they're looking at installations, site-specific work, and sometimes collaborative art installations also. So when I started looking at paradigm shift in its specificity, I also realized that there are no great paradigm shifts in art. They've already happened. So it was trying to look at artists who brought in small kind of changes like Subodh Kerkar, who worked with the idea of the chili, and how chili, which is actually something foreign to us, has become part of our everyday reality. So there is also Vivan Sundaram here, whose work Gaga Waka represents the idea of something which is really recycled, something that is upscaled into become a fashion garment, etc. And it is a kind of collaborative work. So there are fashion models who are representing the very sculptural like dresses that Vivan made with the help of dress designers, etc. So there's also artists who, like Adil Writer, who ask you to touch the work, so it's very textural.
Art Bengaluru showcased the diversity of art across people, places and mediums.
So this is bringing art into the public domain, which is why Art Bengaluru is doing such a good job of that. There are people who are coming and looking at the work, touching the work, feeling the work. These are the kind of people who need to see art.
I think this whole concept of bringing artists together in one place is fantastic. People are able to connect, and in our case they're able to connect with nature, with all the pictures of wildlife, and we've had a great reception of people coming and connecting with the wilderness, nature, so it's amazing, it's fantastic. Art Bengaluru is a fantastic space to give you a good number of people coming through, and that way more and more people get to be connected to nature.
Coming up on the other side, we give you a glimpse into the speaker sessions by world-renowned artists. The 10-day art extravaganza witnessed a host of speaker sessions, workshops and performances by renowned international and Indian artists. Vivan Sundaram spoke about his work on Gaga Waka and post-mortem in his engaging session.
Already the idea that to create images of beauty, images of seduction with models walking them, people were surprised that with what my values are or my politics are, why have I gone into this play of seduction. But I think that there is something where you pose questions, you take and make and take the risk of proposing something outside your own field, and always the aspect of a sort of self-questioning, a kind of, in fact the word making strange is an old word coming from some Russian position, but Brecht used it a lot, of the idea of distanciation, of being near and of questioning where you are. So it isn't a romantic continuity. And so it seemed important that I should now critique my own work in a manner of speaking or fashion. And what do I go to is to go to the mannequin. Now the mannequin is what? It's a neutral thing, it's made out of fiberglass, it's simple to cut, and then you expose, the mannequin is a support for the garment which you've seen, but now the mannequin is made available for interventions. I came across these medical teaching things, sculptural objects, and you'll see later on many of them are made in China, and they are exquisite, what I call pop objects. So actually the pop goes back to the beginning of my career when I was a pop artist.
My session, it's titled Making Strange, is based on two bodies of work. One was called Gaga Waka Making Strange, and the next one was called Post-Mortem After Gaga Waka. And it was a crossover into making garments out of found objects and rubbish, as well as of the ready-made. But they also were garments that were worn by professional models, artists, theatre people, that took place in Delhi, and a kind of comment or a critique on it, which much of my work is based on. It was called Postmortem After Gaga Waka. So then I returned to the support of the base, which is the mannequin, which I could cut up in various ways. So in a sense they became more sculptural, although the first lot were the photographs of that work and there's the video, I did call sculptural garments.
Lee Hongbo, who is best known for his lifelike paper sculpture, explained the intricacies of his work to the audience in his session Out of Paper.
雕塑形态的时候，雕塑的语言已经发生了变异。So the language of the space of the sculpture changes the moment he moves it. 那我合上它之后，又回到了雕塑语言的原有视觉。
But when he brings it back into its static form, it becomes just another sculpture.
我想这可能就是现代艺术所带给大家的新奇刺激。
So he thinks that's an interesting aspect of modern art that has changed.
和新的视觉体验。
And it offers all of you a new life experience.
带来新的思考。
And a new way of thinking about the world.
International artist Nicholas Klaus, in his session Moving Images and Random, exhibited his work and explained the technicalities of the art he practiced.
By chance, I found on my way some computers and I tried to start to play with, and I discovered some programming softwares, so I started using coding, programming to make some of my works. And that time, that was in 1999, 2000. At that time, I realized that it was possible to display the works on the internet. So I've made for a few years what that time we called net art, some kind of art on internet. The idea was to display some works where the viewer could interact with, being at home, using his mouse, his computer, headphone, and could interact with the picture and the sound. So the idea was to make some works which were just the opposite of internet. When internet is about immediacy, I would make works which is just the opposite.
For that session, I tried to show a few works of mine since, the oldest one being like 15 years ago, using new technologies. So the idea was to go across my works and show how it went from interactivity to generativity. So some very different works. I think it's interesting to mix several artists with several mediums, from photography to painting to new technologies, and I think it's interesting to have that in India. To show some new forms. I wish it lasts longer than that, but it's already it's a nice experience.
Girish Shahane, in his session Shock of the New, how the definition of art keeps changing, threw light on the evolution of art and the way it is perceived today.
The other thing is that Indian literary tradition, Indian dramatic tradition, Indian narrative tradition was very deeply sentimental and melodramatic. And the Indian visual tradition was not. It had a slightly different history, nature painting, etc. And Ravi Verma's success really lay in connecting the Indian visual art, the medium of visual art, to that Indian sentimentality which was already in our narrative. Right? And And this connection actually led to a very interesting discussion of the notion of power in art, which Partha Mitra discusses in his book. And I will just spend about 5 minutes talking of this notion of power in motives. So, Verma's adoption of naturalism, his gift to Victorian genre paintings and to the theatre of Kerala and Bombay is well documented. What has perhaps not been recognized is the degree to which the sentimentality of Verma's paintings simultaneously broke from the Indian visual framework and linked with the Indian dramatic tradition. It was a little like pulling the plug from one power source and sticking it in another. Over 100 years ago, Balendranath Tagore saw in Ravi Verma's art an abundance of power, right, which he felt was lacking in traditional Indian art production. So what I'm talking of is the lack of sentimentality. Balendranath Tagore sort of agrees with me, and he said that traditional Indian art production has no power, and Ravi Verma is great because he introduces this to Indian visual.
My session was about the way that Indian art is perceived in the globe. And the way that has changed in the last 5 or 6 years. I really like the fact that the audience seemed very intently involved. I found that the audience was people who already knew a lot about art. The audience that was here was tremendously responsive, and I felt privileged to speak to them.
Stay tuned to catch the action on the other side, only on Yes Bank Art Bengaluru. Art Bengaluru, over the last 5 editions, has defined the face of contemporary art and culture in Bangalore. The art festival brings together a melange of the reputed artists and their works from across the world in an effort to increase art appreciation in the city and encourage fresh thinking. Yes Bank Art Bengaluru 2015 witnessed a host of engaging workshops which range from sushi and dim sum making workshops to theatre and butterfly rearing workshops. The last 3 days of Art Bengaluru witnessed jaw-dropping performances by composer and tabla player Talvin Singh, Ukrainian trance and progressive house DJ and producer Omnia, and world-renowned Indian percussionist and composer Trilok Gurtu, which saw an exceptional response. 10-day art extravaganza ended on a high note, exposing people to art forms they had never seen before, giving them experiences unheard of, and bringing in a fresh new wave of creative thinking.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.